Okay, everybody, welcome back to the Crossover Cinema Podcast. We're here reviewing films, series, media releases. Today we have a great episode, well, two great episodes to see. But before we start, let me introduce myself real quick. My name is Carlo.
And I'm Kaya. You already know we're reviewing the two-parter finale of Agatha All Along, in which we got, so much. Jen got her powers back. Wiccan brought back Tommy, and he's on the quest for it, with a ghost Agatha right by his side and a powerful battle with Lady Death. Let's get right into it.
Let's start with the first thing that pops out of my mind. I think if you're down with it, we could go with Rio.
Yeah, let's start with Rio right away.
Yeah, there's so much to say about her, and at the end, I don't see we saw everything we could have seen.
No, not at all. I think let's take it a step further with the fact that the costume, right? Like the outfit is cool, but you feel this sense of we need to make it more tangible. And I feel like she's Lady Death. The whole notion of her should be this kind of ethereal, a presence, and I feel like they didn't really play with that more. It felt a little more like Buffy, the Vampire Slayer. And I like that. I still like that. But for me, I think the MCU, especially in her future appearances, should take more along the lines of her relationship with Thanos in the comics and her appearances there. I think that Aubrey Plaza could really play into that and still have that playfulness that she has in the role, inherently. But when it comes to the actual effect on her, the way to make her look like Lady Death in the face, I think the mask and whatnot is really well done. I think they blended it well. I think it was actually practical makeup blended with some CGI, and I think the shroud with the veil helps it, and and Aubrey Plaza has these really piercing eyes that work for it. And I really like that about it. I feel like her relationship to Agatha being explored here was just, it was really nice to see that. I think they could have even went further. I think we could have even seen what led to the to Nikki's birth. How was he conceived?
I really when I saw the last episode when it stopped, I said to myself, okay, there's gonna be a spin-off with Rio. That's what they just put some cards there and we understand who it is. We didn't go really deep into her.
You think a whole series spin-off in a way?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be that's what I felt when I watched it. I was like, okay, maybe we're going there, because with the ending of what happened in Agatha, I'm like, okay, the season 2, I don't know. I could see maybe the main villain come back or what's happening in that world. I don't know.
I feel like Lady Death,
because she's a ghost now, bro, huh?
Well, she is a ghost, and that is the comics accuracy I think a lot of people were looking for, which is interesting. I think, let's shift right over to that. So just to address Lady Death's presence, just to address that point, I think her presence in the MCU further is going to be more that she is Death. So she will always be around at any point in time now, I think. Or you could even retcon it, not retcon, but find a way to show her with past characters who've died, Natasha Romanoff, etc. You know what I mean? And show them going into kind of the beyond, I think the way that Alice did. That was really powerful stuff. Her moment with Alice, I think, was meant to showcase that what she gave to Agatha, that special time and whatnot, is in a lot of senses, and the preferential treatment is something that nobody else gets. She's like, I don't have any more time. She's like, nope, we're going. Let's go. That's it. You know what I mean? And I feel like that plays into the situation with Nikki. You know what I mean? And Agatha overall kind of being the real villain that we kind of wanted her. We wanted this kind of anti-hero part to play into her, right? But she's a villain. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. She intentionally created the road, which is our biggest reveal, right?
Yeah.
Which is it's interesting to me. I think in the writing process, there has to be a point where they're thinking about her and they're like, are we just going to make her just a mean bitch? It's yeah, I think we are. And it's there's not to say that there's not trauma there. There's not an understanding of where she's come from.
Yeah, but it takes out all the humanity that I thought she had at the beginning. Okay, she's just mean.
Yeah, and you think of and
we got we thought she was okay, so we got the same treatment as what she gives to her fellow witches that she killed. You know what I mean? Like we went in that like kind of way of thinking.
You understood why Jen said, she believed that you attained the Darkhold and sold her child, sacrificed her child for it. There's a like fathomability to these sorts of things, like a probability. You're like, oh yeah, Agatha could have done it because she kills so many witches brutally for power and just a lust for power. And you think of it like a vampire, right? Which is what I think we thought in earlier episodes. We were like, maybe there's a need. Maybe there's this thing, right? Maybe, and she makes it really clear. No, there's no need. Not only on top of that is there no need, but it recontextualizes like her origin in WandaVision, seeing her mother and her coven kill her. You're like, yeah, kill that girl. I'm so sorry. She's crazy. She's killing everybody. You need to save the other witches. The other witches are not trying to kill other witches, And I think one good point with that is that she doesn't feel any remorse. Not one bit.
But I was wondering, like, when I watched it, I didn't get that part though. Is she was with her son, but she was like trapping witches to kill them, but to save her son or just to get powers? Because what I understand is the witches will kill her son. I don't know.
I think it's
to get powers to save him.
I think it's undefined. I think in a lot of ways that's a problem with this finale, is it doesn't give you every answer that it should be, as it gives you the reveals. And I feel like you're
clearly the kid didn't want to kill those witches. She was like, "I love you, my son, but I need to kill." So, that part I didn't really get why. And I'm not a really big fan of Agatha, like in the comics at the time.
I'll put it like this: I think because her relationship with Lady Death is so pivotal to her version in the MCU, because it's not a key character trait in the comics. I think that's what you're supposed to kind of assume, which I don't think is a good thing on their part. I think that's something that they should be defining very clearly, that she's killing for Lady Death and maybe in turn getting more time with Nikki. Now, at the same time, that's not clear, right? And, and you're kind of supposed to glean from body language and stuff. And I think that works to a degree. Like, I did see a Twitter user talking about how Rio, by the way she's talking to Nikki and how Nikki's so kind of comfortable going to see her, he's probably seen her before. And the reminder of the 2 kisses on his mother's cheek, you know what I mean, before he goes, and it's interesting to think maybe, well, I'm sure the creator will come out, Jac Schaeffer. She did a really good job with both WandaVision and this show, despite a few plot holes. And I really think that like she probably will give a good answer for what that exactly is. Maybe that has relation to the Darkhold, because that's a key plot hole that we're missing. Like, Agatha had the darkened black fingernails because she was attained the Darkhold, but we don't have a clear timeline of when she got it, how she got it, what was the reason for why she would need it. Like, these sorts of things that, like, I don't think, like, they say she shrouded herself from Rio, but it's like, but when did she? Like, how did, like, in timeline wise, it doesn't really fit, I find. So I think we got to get some more answers on that. But we got her death in that sort of way. A key thing that I think is important for her character to have that ghost appearance. I do think it would have been cool to see her look like that in the MCU, like as a real figure, and then die. But I'm cool with the ghost thing because that's just, there's an accuracy to it, and I think that it's playing into what the future projects will be, and it's relating to other media that have used Agatha. In for example, Marvel Midnight Suns, she trains Scarlet Witch and dies in a training exercise because Scarlet Witch unleashes her powers too strong, and she becomes an apparition the same way. She's got the gray hair, the purple outfit, her pendant, you know, right there, etc. So I think that they're clearly trying to establish that accuracy, and I'm happy about that.
Yeah, I was surprised that if the next season or everything that will become forward, she will always appear as the ghost, and that's it, right? Like,
yeah, I think that's
she's not coming back in her body or something. She's not.
I think what we
doing could, a kind of a Billy situation right there.
Yeah, it's a swapping bodies, right? I think there's a permanency to that, and I think that Agatha wouldn't want to embody somebody else's body unless it was for like a purpose in a mission. You know, I'm sure we'll see in the future when she's with Tommy and Billy doing their quest together. Well, I think it probably will be actually just Billy and her looking for Tommy and then finding Tommy probably halfway through the series that they do. And I'm sure that they'll call it the Children's Crusade because the comic book storyline, I'm pretty sure, relates to that, if I'm not mistaken. And I don't know Agatha's role exactly within that. I don't know if she is like their guide, but I think that that's something that they're probably playing with. And in the sense that in the absence of having that relationship with Scarlet Witch, which is what happens in the comics. So I feel like they're going to play into that next series and she's always going to be a ghost. I think that's her form in the MCU. And I think even if she links back with Scarlet Witch, she will be like on Scarlet Witch's side as a ghost. And we did see her physically touch the pendant, so she's definitely going to learn how to really do her thing, you know, as a ghost. I think it's going to be really cool to see.
And let's go a little bit with Lilia. Like,
overall,
like
her
at the end of, when the episode started, I was like, okay, there's missing something I didn't understand. So I went back to the 7th episode, just the ending, just to really understand. And okay, she's dead, right? Like,
oh, she's gone.
She was dead.
Yeah,
but I didn't get it like that. Like, it took me, like, I needed to go check it to be okay, she's dead. Like, she fell down and she's not there anymore. But I thought that she would have come back. I don't know. I thought that there was
I think not
character,
not showing the body is always something that plays into that kind of ambiguity. And you're like, oh, and it's the MCU, so you're like, oh, maybe she could be alive. But
yeah, if we didn't see the body,
it's unfortunate. But I think it's the sort of thing that like it adds to the legitimacy of the characters' arcs in the series and lets them really come full circle and serve a full purpose. Like, not like, I think not everything in the MCU needs to be a let's save this for later and do more with the character later. Let's do the more right now and cap it off. And I think that with a character like Lilia, she has a impactful but small enough role in the grander MCU that it works, you know, and Patti LuPone really, really killed that. And I think that her relationship with Jen overall, like focusing on that now, I think was really cool to see. And it played into Jen's confidence really coming into full form later on in the show, and kind of like how she took charge when they went through that last kind of like epilogue trial, I'd call it, and just kind of like reaching the real end of the road and realizing not only that Wiccan was the one who created the road through his like manifestation of powers, we now have an understanding that he also has that reality creation. So reality creation, like having Scarlet Witch level powers and having a bit of a grasp on it and realizing he can do it and do good with it. Like she said, you did something way more interesting than your mom ever chose to do, right? And I feel like that was a little harsh, but you know, Agatha had to say, you know, it is what it is, right? So I feel like that leads to Jen really getting to have that kind of like that blissful ignorance. She doesn't know that the road wasn't real for most of it. You know what I mean? Like, it really wasn't. Like, Agatha knew all along as she was doing it, right? Sorry, pun intended. That she was essentially just leading people down this fake path, this scam, you know, this scheme. And to see her, like, now you can recontextualize a lot of the events and see like everybody's reactions, like her embodying Mrs. Hart, you know, like even like, I just think all those moments now can really add to the replayability of the show, and really seeing Jen go through, I think, one of the biggest arcs over the show. She was kind of had this catty and like a meanness to her that was born from like a lot of what Agatha did to her. And then at the same time, it's like we're seeing this kind of like full form version of her come out, and the flying scene at the end, like just the like, it was so graceful, and it was beautiful, like chef's kiss. No notes for that. I really have to say, I really enjoyed that.
I wanted to talk about like the idea overall of everything we saw in those episodes were not like what was happening. I thought about it when we were watching it, and I was like, is it gonna be a story that is gonna be like, is it gonna turn a little kitsch? You know what I mean? Like,
I know exactly what you mean.
Is it gonna be like, it was a dream? You know?
No, so
like,
that's
I was like skeptic, but they brought it good. I think they did a good
full circle
way to do it, but I find still that the base of that story, I think we should have understand that we're not on the road maybe sooner. I think it's a punch, but it's not like a punch that I think that it was worth it, like doing like that.
I feel like it should have been an earlier reveal, maybe something that we got revealed in the Lilia episode, and then kind of leading into the last bit, we could kind of recontextualize a lot of these events and like sprinkle the montages, the anime style montages,
exactly.
Back and forth,
and sprinkle it, and maybe like show a little bit more of what we're missing, like you know what I mean, like but I get it was a great punch. I'm like I see the overall series, like what they wanted to do, but well, I think it's we already saw that, with other stuff, so.
We've seen reveals like that before, I think done maybe a bit more effectively, but I think that this doesn't take away from the replayability of the show. It adds to it still. Although you are right in a lot of senses, I think that maybe that reveal could have punched up earlier episodes in a way that would have like I think after Alice dies, I think if we kind of had a context for that a bit more and realize that Wiccan, maybe we as an audience get clues that Wiccan is creating the road as they're going. It's like that to me is different. That to me I think would have allowed it a bit more, lended it more credence. But at the same time, him closing it, him going back to his home to
find everything.
Well, that's the thing. To see the hex or the pentagon or whatever it is, the symbol, and just be like, okay, I really did make this thing. Now let me close it, right? And in a way, he closes it, but it's still a pocket route. He didn't destroy it. You know what I mean? Like it's still. So now I feel like if Jen tells the other witches like you can find the road, like they actually will. Like they actually will be able to do it. You know what I mean? And maybe reclaim their powers in a way. And I think it's gonna be super cool. If in the MCU later on, when they show more witches, that these witches say like, yeah, we went to the road, and they do like a montage of them going through Wiccan's trials, and he's like so proud of himself because he feels like he was a killer. You know what I mean? At the end, to a degree. And
so, he said, I killed them all, man.
Well, that's like, it, right? So it like kind of it lends.
He was right too at the end. Like I don't know.
He was.
You know, he created everything. He killed him, but Agatha used it. But there's so many part of that series that I don't get because of him creating that road. Like, why? I don't know. Like, she was so mad at one point. At the end, she was like, "I did everything you needed. Why? No." But now I'm like, okay, is she talking to him, or because she knew Agatha what's happening, or because she know that the road doesn't exist and it's.
I think she was piecing it together.
There was a lot of part that I was like, okay, but. I don't get why they're reacting like that.
Assumptions, right? A lot of assumptions that you as the viewer have to make, right? To understand, like, oh, is it this? Like, I guess so. Like, and that's unfortunate. I feel like Agatha kind of showing she knows that he's Wiccan, like, doesn't add to the her understanding of like the road being a creation like that. Like, she knows it's fake all the time, but maybe she's thinking that she was able to manifest it in some sort of way, but at the same time it's like Wiccan creating all of these trials based on the characters proper means he was tapping into their minds earlier and not realizing it, and it's like it was in a subconscious sort of way. So there's a lot of stuff I think
because we're with the mother of Agatha in that episode, so that means that he got those memories, and he was I don't know, there's a lot of stuff that I'm like, okay, like
now you kind of want to like not necessarily rewatch the entire thing, but go back to those key scenes and see those moments again and be like, like, I think it works, exactly. Right? I think it works in that sort of sense, but I think overall for its impact in the MCU, it's still small enough that it can kind of do its own thing while also still introducing elements for future MCU projects. So I think like Lady Death is, for example, like clearly going to be like Aubrey Plaza is really well received, and she's for sure going to keep showing up. And I think Agatha, Catherine Hahn, like you killed it. You straight killed it, sis. Like you balanced every emotion, every flow when you losing your child, like killing these witches, like that montage was fire. Like shouts out, that they really said you gonna hear the Witches Road, Carlo. You gonna know the track. Now you're like, no,
for real, Kaya. I know the song by heart. And I didn't like it at the beginning, and now I'm with it.
I get it.
Like you're like, this morning I was like waking up down, down the witch's road, and I was going to the bathroom. You know, like I'm with it. You know,
that's it. You're game. You're game.
So yeah, but and at the beginning I was very skeptic, but I think that
What would you like to see for the future of these characters? Like, what would you like to see moving forward? Maybe the Wiccan and Tommy series, obviously that for sure.
That's for sure. But I really don't understand how they're gonna use Agatha in a ghost form. Like, she will not be like non-stop present. She will. I don't get it. Like, she will come and leave, or she's gonna be with Billy all along. I don't know. Like, I'm very curious of how it's gonna play because I don't know the comics about Agatha. You know.
So I think she's gonna tie in. I think to answer that, I think she's gonna really
pop
be
up.
A presence.
Oh yeah, I was chilling over there in the other place. I just came back. How can I help you?
Is it
gonna be that kind of hero?
A witch's version of a Deadpool in terms of the cameo potential, like in terms of how much she can be in other projects, and like in the Midnight Suns, for example, she should absolutely be there. You know what I mean? Like if you were to do that sort of film, have Blade, Ghost Rider, whatnot, Agatha should definitely be their ghost in the chair. I would love to see it, you know, and I think it would be really cool to like expand that side, you know, of the MCU. And Catherine Hahn, I know you want the bag, sis, and you gon' collect it. You gonna keep getting it, straight up. But yeah.
Do you have something that you want to see coming forward?
Really and truly, I just want to get our girl Scarlet Witch back, and I think I want to see her reunite with her children and just, you know, get to really be the full, you know, nice, good, kind-hearted Scarlet Witch that I think everybody sees in her and that she does, you know, see in herself. And she's gone. Like they said, Jac Schaeffer did say she was specifically told to write that she's gone, not dead, gone. So you gonna be back, sis. I can't wait to see you come back, Elizabeth Olsen, straight up. And I think you're gonna have a lot of good chemistry with your newly casted children. Joe Locke shouts out, you did a great job. I might check out Heartstopper now. So yeah, say less, you know, say less. But on that note, you guys, it's a pleasure to have you on the Crossover Cinema Podcast. We had a great time reviewing Agatha all along. It was a wild ride, definitely down the witch's road.
And thank you guys being there. If you want to go like and subscribe, we always appreciate it.
And on that note, guys, see you guys on the next Crossover Cinema Podcast. Ciao, guys.